Hello, 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 YouTube. I am back with another one. And this one is going to really irritate some people. I already know. But I don't care. And the reason why I don't care about this irritating or angering some of the viewers is because it has to be talked about and it has to be discussed. And who other than the divine mommy should be discussing this? So I feel a really, really strong spirit right now. A really, really strong spirit. And I know I'm not the only woman that is going through this. I know I'm not. Or I know that I'm not the only woman that has went through something like this. And spirit compelled me to come and give some words of encouragement and love to the women out there that are dealing with the welfare man. And I like to call them the welfare fraud man. That's what I like to call them, okay? Um, I believe that any man with a beating heart has the ability to take care of his children and to take care of his family and to do better for his family. I truly believe that. I don't allow anybody to make excuses. I don't. I don't allow anybody to get a pass except for women because women are women, right? There's a serious problem that is plaguing not just the Black community, but all races of women. And this is the welfare man. And women seem to always take the blame. Even when you ladies are trying your hardest, you always seem to take the blame for a man that has nothing to offer. Nothing. Absolutely nothing to offer. Um, by the way, I do believe, again, because we actually talked about this a few weeks ago, about the prevalence of breeding and breeding more children into poverty, and why men are okay with breeding children into poverty and then keeping them there. Not even having the desire. We're not talking about the ability, because someone's ability versus their desire is two different things. I'm talking about somebody without the desire to have better or to get better for their child or for their children or for their family. I know that while my older kids were younger, I always had certain financial goals and dreams that I wanted with my life. You know what I'm saying? And I know a lot of you ladies out there feel the same exact way. I know that for a fact. And this is a spiritual thing, just to let you guys know, which is why I'm even discussing it on this channel. All of this is relevant because let me tell you something. There is nothing more miserable than poverty, right? And you have these men that generationally breed children into poverty. And a lot of times these men, quote unquote men, are people. It's not just men, because there's a lot of women that are okay with this as well, which is, it's your business if that's what you want. But what I can tell is that what a man will do when he's like that is he will break you. He will completely break you of everything. He'll take everything from you. All of your pride, your self-esteem, your self-respect. And a lot of these women end up broken, and they end up left in poverty, and they think that they can't do any better. And I promise you that you can do better. You know what's sad about it is that these type of men, and we're not talking about women, because women are different than men, okay? Very, very different. We're talking about the men. These type of men will want to keep you involved in that, and they will want to stay attached to you for as long as possible. And I'm speaking facts right now. Another thing that I notice is that these particular men, along with other men and other people that are agents for this, for poverty, they always tell the woman that she's a welfare recipient and a food stamp recipient, and she's nothing, and she's dirt, and she's trash. It is the most horrible, disgusting type of man that you will ever come along. And those of you that don't have children, do not ever, and you know what? You better think not just twice, but 4 or 5 times, and double check yourself before you lay down with them and have a child with them. Because guess what they want to do? They will ruin the rest of your life if they can. And they will almost try to force poverty upon you. They'll try to force it. They'll do everything in their power to keep you in that position. And they'll say things like, oh no, I love my kids, or I love you. No, you don't. You don't love that woman or those children. You want that woman and those children to suffer in poverty. Let me ask y'all something. Have y'all ever seen a woman, and people blame the woman, they do, but I'm gonna tell you something. I've actually known of these men using love spells, hoodoo spells on women to get them, right? And we talked about this during our last discussion about this. And it's so disgusting because a man like that is not going to offer you anything, not even stimulating conversation. He doesn't even have anything to talk about, to be honest with you. He doesn't. He just doesn't. It's nothing interesting. It's just nothing there. And, there's a lot of women out there that are just young and they just don't know. They don't. They just don't know. You think you in love with somebody and you end up having children with them and then they do nothing, right? And some of them will even lie. I've actually seen men do that. Lie and tell you that they have a job and they don't have one, right? So the next thing you know, you have children with this man that has nothing, absolutely nothing to offer you and no promise of any future. And he just does not care. He has no plan for his future. Okay. Not even a job, let alone a business, not even a job. Okay. Now, and you know what? Sometimes if it's a man that's in his 40s or 50s and he's got some kind of minimum wage paying job, that's just as bad. Okay. So, and I say this to say this, it is what it is. Okay. It is what it is. And I say it is what it is because we all know what it is. We all know that life costs money. We all know that. Nobody is dumb to that. Nobody. Everybody knows that it costs money to live. Everybody. Okay? So if you settle down to have a family, you have to have some means of supporting the children. Now, let me talk to you ladies about you and your children that are trying to overcome the welfare fraud man. The reason why is because a lot, and I'm not saying the ladies are doing this, but a lot of y'all have to live in poverty and it's a total fraud. It's a total farce. And the reason why is because he's able to do more for his family. He just doesn't want to. He's able to do it. He just chooses not to. And the next thing you know, he's calling up to your job when you break up with him. He's stalking you. He's harassing you. He tries to get you kicked out of college. He doesn't support you. Okay? He doesn't. He doesn't support you in your ability to do better for his children. And he doesn't care because he hasn't been able to do better for himself. Please, God, don't ever let him get their hands on your kids because the next thing you know, everybody in his family got your child's social security number. Everybody. And it's a shame. It's not even a scandal. It's just a shame. Because the next thing you know, these men are trying to force your kids to live in poverty. Trying to force it. They don't have a pot to pee in or a boot to throw it out with, but they're trying to force it because they feel, well, this is all I have, and so this is what you should have. You see what I'm saying? Let me tell y'all women something. You can overcome the welfare poverty fraud man, but it's going to take some spiritual work. It is. It's going to take some spiritual work. It is. Now, some of the stuff is going to have to be done via the courts, but, we all know sometimes how men react to court. There was actually a case just recently where a man set his daughter on fire. He set his daughter on fire during a custody battle. Killed her because he didn't want the mama to get custody. There may have been more depth to that story, like maybe he could have possibly kidnapped the kid. This happens very often where men kidnap the kid, and the mother probably did like what any concerned mother would do, especially if it's a young child, and went ahead and drew up the papers with the courts to get custody. Okay, and he killed that child. And this happens very often. Not sure why. It happens with women and men actually, but um, more cases of the men doing it than the women. Okay, look up the statistics. It's all there. But it's wrong on either side. But this is what I want to tell you. They mess with you. They bother you. They taunt you. They make a mockery out of you. Maybe they're doing it because they want to get a little bit of extra help from the state for that child, you know? Um, when you see a parent that is trying to do better for his or her family, this is because there has been so many generations of people that have been impoverished, and it is nothing more stressful than money problems. And I know a lot of y'all having them because I've been extremely emotional today, and this is something that Spirit told me. You got to talk about it. You got to talk about it. Some of these men would rather keep their children in a messed up situation than to allow their lives to get better. They will selfishly stalk, harass, kidnap, beat, punch, kick. They will do all sorts of stuff because this is not a man at all. Okay, you got to understand the difference between a man and a demonic loser. Okay. And a lot of y'all have been beaten down by these kinds of men, mentally, sometimes even physically, emotionally, psychologically. And they got helpers too. They got folks that will help because see, they get some kind of bonus. They do. They get some kind of bonus. That's why I was saying next thing you know who should have your children's social security number? Definitely the mother, but the mother, the father, and the child. If there's one parent that is sane and rational, and you can't use witchcraft because I know that, people like to say that witches are crazy, or if you're a spiritualist, you're crazy, but we all know that that's not the case, okay? But if you've got one parent that is flourishing, the children should be with that parent. They shouldn't be forced to live in squalor and poverty. But this is the kind of things that will happen when you're dealing with these types of very selfish men. Okay? Hey, Hennessy Devil. Going good with me and Mike. This is what I want to talk to you ladies about, though. I want you to know that you can do better. I'm not here to judge anybody except for a man that would lay up and have children with no means of supporting them, and then consistently kicking down the mother and trying to squash all over her dreams because he's insecure. Okay? So, women, we know that men, especially for the past several years, have taken almost this revenge against the women and the children. And what they have done is they have played the blame game. But the blame game is not parenting. If you are a father that cannot support your children, and see, every single day I am triggered by men on YouTube by this same exact subject, and I hate it. It's almost like, why do I have to have this constant reminder of Loserville. Why? You know why? Because it's a reality for a lot of women. And it was meant for me to come and talk to you guys on this day to tell you that you can overcome the welfare fraud man. Because the welfare fraud man, guess what he's going to do? He's going to be okay with you going down to the food stamp office and getting food stamps. He's going to be okay with that. He's going to be okay with generations of his children and grandchildren being stuck on that, being stuck in that place where you have nothing. And even though, I mean, my God, it's obvious that there are so many people that have done better. Yeah, everything's good with me and Mike. I'm talking about something else that a lot of these ladies need to hear about. And I'm pretty sure that they more than appreciate me talking about this. I'm pretty sure they do. Especially if you are a woman that is seasoned, okay, and you've got older children and you've been through it. Because I read an article the other day said that it takes you 20 years to get over poverty. Now, that's not for everybody, but I read that somewhere. I don't know who wrote that, but it don't necessarily take 20 years. People have their own opinions, but it is a hole that they will put you in. Okay, sis. And you have got to crawl yourself out of that hole. You got to think about that movie Kill Bill. Remember when that Henri man buried her alive? And she was able to punch her way through that casket and able to claw her way from 6 feet under. That is how it feels like, literally, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and physically. It feels like you're clawing your way out of being buried alive, because guess what? You only got one life to live in this lifetime, don't you? We don't know about the next lifetime. We can sit up here and say, oh, well, I'm just going to go to church. And that's okay for you to do that too, sis, okay? But I want to say this to you, that if you lay down in that grave and you take it, if you take that, you got to think about your grandchildren. And we have been talking about this for a very long time. And see, you guys know that I'm famous for the generational hex removers, right? Well, I'm giving you an example. I'm giving you one of the main examples of the generational hexes that are started by hopeless, cowardly men. And they're out there. They are out there. Do you understand me? And they are looking for somewhere to place their seed. And they looking to be taken care of as well, which, a lot of women out there, hey, I understand the roles have become reversed. I think that it would be better to start your own business together. In fact, that's exactly what my plan is to, my business is going to be a business that my children can work at and can do someday. And a lot of you guys have your plans to do your own business. Do it. It doesn't matter if people don't approve. This is something that you are going to have to go through hell, but it is worth it. There is nothing worse. I'm going to tell you something. For the first time when I came down here to Georgia, I had switched over to that prepaid light plan. And I'm good on my bills now because I have fought my way through it. Okay. I keep money. Y'all know that. But there is nothing worse than sitting there with your children in the dark. There is nothing worse than sitting there with your children with no water. There is nothing worse than sitting there with your children with no gas. And yeah, you can make, you can actually make an adventure out of it. Get some tents, make it a camping trip, try to make it as less painful for the children as possible. But while you are going through that, take advantage of that time that you are down, and say, because when I went through that, I had a website up and everything, and the money came through and it was all good, because you guys know that I do my work, okay? And at that time, there was some mistakes that I had made. Okay, let's put it like that. Okay. There was some mistakes that I had made with the power company. So I don't mind talking about this because it's not embarrassing. It's one of those things, because for the past probably like 16 years, nothing like that had ever happened. I even always had cable and internet. So I've always done pretty good for myself, okay? And I've always been proud of myself, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not anything that you even have to brag about. That's not necessarily anything to brag about, sustaining yourself, surviving. But what I want you to know is that you can do better than just surviving as well. You can go beyond that. You can go so much further than that. And you know what? If he got a problem with it, if somebody has a problem with you doing better in life, leave them where they belong. Do you understand me? This is a very dangerous person that is possibly even suicidal. Because I don't know about y'all, but I've always liked and enjoyed nice things. I do have a Taurus Venus. Okay. Hey, Catavia. I do got that Taurus Venus. Okay. So I've always adored nice things, and I always wanted to have a really healthy environment. I always wanted to take my children to Disneyland. I always wanted to purchase a home of my own. Thank you, hon. Thank you. So when you've got somebody like that you have had children with, first of all, depending on how they have been, I'm telling y'all, depending on how they have been in the past, don't let them get their hands on your kids. Okay, I'm gonna give you that first bit of advice. Don't do it. Because some of these welfare fraudsters, okay, and this is a man that is perfectly able-bodied, okay, because I feel like as long as you ain't dead, you able-bodied. That's really my attitude on that. If your heart is beating and you breathing and you got blood pumping through your veins, you are capable of anything and everything. It's only the restrictions that you've put on yourself. So nobody has any excuse for failure. Okay. Over here at Divine Services, if you have failed, the only way you're going to get yourself out of that failure is if you don't accept failure. Okay. So, every excuse in the book can be made. It just depends. Some of y'all are not necessarily working jobs that are within your life purpose, which is understandable. You get bored, you get shiftless, you get shifty. Sometimes I get it. I totally get it. However, when you have a family to take care of, you have to consider them first. And a lot of these so-called men in social media, they can be very triggering, because they are just like those type of men that a lot of women cannot stand. On the flip side, when you're a successful woman and they know you're successful and you can produce receipts to the fact that you're successful, on the flip side, Men are going to react very volatile towards you. They are. That's how you know what kind of man he is. If he's acting volatile towards you, if he's trying to discredit you and denigrate you and things of that nature. And it can be very triggering for me because I can be triggered. You understand what I'm saying? What's up, S Banks? I couldn't even imagine. You know, I used to always say, if I were a man, if I were a man, well, I'm not a man, I'm a woman, and I'm okay with that. Okay. But I would always say, if I was a man, I would never have my woman down at no welfare office, ever, not with my children. And if I felt that she were not worthy of my support, she wouldn't have my baby, would she? I wouldn't have my baby growing inside of a woman that ain't worthy. So obviously, you were worthy, right? Okay. So I wouldn't do it. And it's an insult. It is when you think about it. And when you think about how, you know, a lot of those programs are set up merely as a stepping stone. It's set up as a stepping block for you to have that support while you get it together. Okay. But see, a lot of them will continue to try to break you consistently. And for whatever reason, you know, I understand that people have health problems. I'm totally understanding of that. Okay. I totally get it. I am not somebody that is a non-understanding. I get that. Okay, but a lot of that stuff is an excuse. A lot of that stuff is coming from your mindset. And a lot of people, especially men, it's easier for them. And then, but see, when you got a woman, right? And see, this is where they totally defiled the woman because they said that being a mother was not that important and it was not that big of a deal. But being a mother is such a big deal. Your kids are constantly pulling at your heartstrings, constantly. It is a 24/7, 24/7 hour per day, 365 days per year. You never stop being a mother. Never. And if you've given your children the building blocks that they need, and I'm not talking about all this school and stuff like that. Everybody raise their children the way they want to. Because I can tell you that all of my children are going to be well off and better than what I had. They're going to have more than what I had. Okay. But a lot of people don't have that attitude. And a lot of people just don't care. They want it, they're in a place that is comfortable for them. And this is a comfort zone because it takes a lot of brain power to step up out of that. It takes a lot of willpower to step up out of that hole in that ground, in that grave that you were put in. It takes a lot of it, guys. And you know what? I'm not saying I'm out of it yet because I haven't bought my home yet. You see what I'm saying? So I'm getting there, and you can see how difficult it can be because you take 10 steps forward, they knock you back 5 steps. Oh, I'm going to do this, this, and that. I'm going to emotionally abuse you. I'm going to mentally torture you. I am going to psychologically toy with you. And you know what's so sad about it is that a lot of these men would not dare do that to their own, but they'll do it to some random strange person out in social media, which is weird because I've actually, Katavia, I'm like a surrogate baby mama to some of these men out here, okay? And it is so triggering because for me, hey, I think more of myself than to be with somebody that way. Well, what you did it before, well, that don't matter. That was 20 years ago when I was young and dumb. You're not going to condemn me for the rest of my life. I don't think so. But a lot of them will try to. They'll either want to condemn you or shame you and say, well, why don't you get back with so and so and so? Well, so and so and so ain't doing nothing with their life. Well, that's who you chose. Well, no, that ain't what I chose. Uh-uh. How are you supposed to know as a woman that when he got a job, he wasn't gonna keep it? Now, I will tell you that a lot of y'all women come into y'all witchy women powers a little bit late in life, but some of y'all don't. Some of y'all remain broken, and that's why you so mean to other women. Hurt people, right? That's where the sisterhood needs to be. Doesn't have to be about sex or lesbianism or anything like that. We didn't have to take it that far, even though some of y'all want to, and that's fine. That's your business. Okay. I don't think you had to necessarily take it that far, but you can overcome that man. That man has beat you into a corner and told you that you could not do any better. And I have been just in that place that you have been. I've been in that place where you got, a bunch of little ones running around, and, you're working 8, 9, 10, 12 hours a day. And then you come home and and you know what? I wasn't miserable while I did it. I did it with a smile on my face. There was a few times I had to go in the bathroom and cry out of frustration sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But my children didn't witness that. You can make your way out of that, and you don't have to feel bad. You're not leaving anybody behind. You're not being dishonorable. The one thing that I will tell you is that cleansing yourself spiritually is going to be the first step. Now, I'm not trying to sell you nothing, but what I'm explaining to you is that your body collects that information in your chakras. All of the information that is being sent to you from that man is being collected in your chakras, and you hold on to it. So after a build up and a build up and a build up, and you see all these men and they doing this and that and the da 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 da, and you're seeing all this stuff happening in the world, and then you just want to give up. You just want to say, you know what? I'm and you know what? I'm gonna tell y'all something. When you are a woman that wants, because a lot of y'all are reborn kings and queens. That's why your spirit is so strong, and you don't lay down like a dog and take it. That's why. And you're able to rise above that. And he, or even sometimes she, might even be kicking and screaming. But that's their issue because they wanted to stay. They refused to have any kind of growth. They refused it. They said it was evil. They said it was from the devil. It was all kind of, I had somebody early this morning tell me, that witchcraft stuff is evil. You gonna go to hell for doing witchcraft. And you're gonna go to hell for not doing witchcraft. Isn't that funny? Okay. So let me tell y'all something. I am not trying to degrade men. I'm not a man hater. Y'all know I love men. Y'all know it. And y'all know I want to get married. Y'all know that. Hey, Kiki. Y'all know that. So we ain't even going there. My whole point is that loser that you broke up with 10 or 15 years ago, he don't have to keep affecting you. Okay? He don't have to keep affecting you. He don't have to keep afflicting you. You do what you got to do. Protect your children, protect your mind, protect your heart, and you'll be okay. But see, here's the whole thing though. I have been a counselor for women that go through this same exact thing. You know, sometimes when I talk to my clients, it's just, you know, they tell me the story of my life. Their life story is my life story. And I enjoy helping these women and inspiring them, because I know that that is going to make a better future for your children, for my children, for everybody's children, to the point where we got gold getting ready to drop out of the sky. Now y'all can't tell me that's just not that's just unreal. I couldn't believe it when I saw that article, and I shared it with in the community post. Y'all can go and look at that. It's not about being materialistic. Come on now. It's not about being rich or filthy rich or anything like that, but you can do whatever you want to do. It is about sustaining your life and enjoying your life and leaving something that your children can use, because they can't use welfare. That's something that's going to be phased out eventually. All that stuff going to be phased out. Okay. Okay, I will, Kiki. You want me to show your email address, hon? I'll just copy and paste it. You can actually email me though at queenjamila941@gmail.com. I don't want to put your email out there. Okay, that's cool, Kiki. Okay. So listen, it's not just about the money, it's about the energy. Poverty is very, very low energy. It's very heavy. Ooh, that poverty energy is so heavy, y'all. Oh my God. Y'all want to talk about a demon on your chest? That's the demon on your chest, is the demon of poverty. Okay. That stuff is awful. You know. And you don't want to make the kids feel bad. You know what I'm saying? If they want a new pair of shoes or something, if they want some, you know, something, you know what I'm saying? I sent my daughter up there get her nails done and stuff, you know? Little girls need stuff like that. Young ladies need that kind of pampering and love. You know what I'm saying? And it's about being happy. It's about being okay. It's not about pumping your chest out and saying, I did this and I did more than you. And that ain't what it's about. But for some reason, that's how they take it. That's how they take it. And no one will ever understand why your success insults them. Nobody will ever understand that. Ever. I just don't get it. I've never heard of that. In fact, I see a lot of the witches on here. They are doing it big. I congratulate them. I thumbs up their videos. I don't never go nowhere and hate on nobody, because I'm not low vibrational like that. I don't do that. Okay. Now, if it's somebody that's doing it to me, then I'm going to do it to you. If you denigrate me, then I might do it to you if I feel the need to. If I feel the need to let folks know, hey, you know, okay. But, and that's even women that don't have children. I'm not just talking about women that have children. You can be a woman without children and be kicked down to in the ground. You know what I'm saying? You can be a woman without children and be mistreated like that. Okay? Don't have to just be a woman with a child. It's just that when you have children, it makes it a little bit more difficult, don't it? Because you got them children to worry about and not just yourself. So that's why I said you and your children, but this goes for any woman out there in any place in her life. I don't care if it's your father kicking you down. It might be your dad kicking you down, or it might be anybody, your uncle, whoever, somebody that just, doesn't want to see you do any better than them. This is very important for you to understand that you can get through that. And they'll tell you, oh, your life gonna end in tragedy. Oh, your kids gonna turn out like this, like that, as if they are psychic or anything, like they psychics. They can't even see their own future half the time, let alone yours. So you don't want to pay no attention to that. Okay? Sorry, y'all. Hold on. Sometimes when you do a hex on somebody that's lower vibrational like that, sometimes you're destroying something that's bad though. You know what I'm saying? All hexes don't necessarily have to be bad. Okay? Yeah, you can call me a little bit later, Kiki. So, and there are some of you ladies, oh, well, I was lucky enough to find a man that was filthy rich. Well, this is not for you, okay? And even a man that's rich can be abusive, okay? So this is not for you. This is for the women that have, struggled to keep a job because the man was calling up to the job, stalking them at the job, harassing them, keeping them up all night and stuff like that, I remember that happened to me with one of my exes. I had to get up and go to work in the morning, and he literally terrorized me all night long, all night. I couldn't even get up. I did get up and go to work the next morning, but I fell asleep at work. I was so tired. I had, I think I had a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. I was tired as heck. Fell asleep at work. Got fired. That was his plan. And he actually had the audacity to tell me, well, we broke, but we happy. I left him 2 weeks later. That ain't what I ever wanted in my life. And a man like that will try to stick to you like glue. I'm talking about stick to you like glue, and then at the same time be totally non-supportive of you. Totally non-supportive. Will try to destroy everything that you try to build. A man that sits down with you and talks to you and say, hey, I want you to save some money. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. That's a good man. A man that's constantly kicking you and telling you ain't nothing, that's not the man for you. Okay, if you involve with a man sexually and this man is giving you good advice and this man is telling you the right thing, then that's a good relationship. But if it's a man that is so insecure that he wants to keep you down and he doesn't want to see you go anywhere, and then and then all of a sudden when and yeah, people don't actually understand, honestly. In fact, this is one of the reasons why they lost their families, because they just lack understanding of that. Okay. All right, hon. Talk to you later. You can email it if you want. I didn't even see if that was the real you. Yeah, you can email it to me if you want. That's no problem. But, y'all, the reason why I say this is because, just because daddy ain't right don't mean mama can't be right. And just because mama ain't right don't mean daddy can't be right. And the statistics and the way that they tried to set it up, which is why we have this energy to begin with, is because, you know, they just want to destroy the whole thing because, like I said, you consider to be a sacrifice at the end of the day. And spiritually, a lot of men don't like to be woke to stuff like that. Okay, that's why I was talking about the subconscious behaviors earlier, because a lot of them are not woke enough. They have no idea. All they do is react, and that's all they do is react. You see what I'm saying? But when you have a deeper level of understanding of what's actually going on here, then that's when you can make that difference in your life and fulfill your dreams, whatever they are. I don't care if it's to own a beauty salon, or maybe you want to own a McDonald's franchise, or maybe you want to, whatever it is, maybe you want to be a witch, maybe, or, not want to be a witch, because there's no such thing as wanting to be a witch. You either are or you not. But maybe you want to have a spiritual business. Everybody that's a witch is not running a spiritual business, which I think that you should. Okay, I think a lot of a lot of the witches that are not actually doing work for the public, I think that they begin to twiddle their thumbs a little bit, which is bad. Okay. Oh yeah, I already spaz, baby. Girl, you ain't even got to tell me. I already know. I already know. And you know what? Coming out of that, other men, if you tell other men that you're coming out of that, they enjoy kicking you down. They enjoy it. But guess what? I'm in the public, and it is my job to inspire people. So that's why I do it. And I feel like, who's the better teacher than somebody that went through it? That's the person that's going to be the best teacher. Because I was able to get myself out of that. And, it's not anything that I would have to brag about. I do buy my food for my family on my own. I do pay my bills on my own. And I'm working on buying a home, and that's something that I've never really wanted to do by myself. And in fact, I don't even think I'll have to do that by myself. But it's still something that I am working towards. You know what I'm saying? And instead of us, just and sometimes I'm telling you, these men can be really, really ignorant. And, because I don't know how many times I've been called a welfare queen. I've worked for the past 20 or 30 years of my life. And a lot of these men don't want to even give you credit for that. They don't even want to give you credit for that. They'll just label you and say, no, you're this, you're this, you're that. Well, you know what you are, and you know what you've accomplished. And they'll say, oh, you haven't accomplished anything. Oh, but I have. I just had a talk with my son this morning, and then neither one of my sons are going to be having no babies that they can't take care of ever. That's just not going to happen. Okay. I'm over here breaking all kind of cycles and strongholds. You know what I'm saying? Because it is a stronghold. And a lot of times, boy, especially the ones that they'll nuke your mind. And basically what that is that they crowd you up with so much, to where you can't focus. But a lot of times it just takes time for you to come out of that until you figure it out. And then you become awakened. Your spirit just awakens, and you're like, wait a minute, this is what, this is my niche. And when you find that niche, You got to take it and run with it and do what you do with it. And in that way, the next generation don't. And it's not to say, that you're gonna raise a bunch of spoiled little rich kids or whatever. I don't think it's anything wrong with that personally. I don't think it's anything wrong with that. There's a lot of people that truly believe that, you don't have nothing unless you worked hard for it, which I don't necessarily agree with that, but my job is hard. What I do is very difficult because, and you know what? Being me is difficult because I'm very empathic. So I could feel the pulse of all of the women around me. I could feel it all over the world. These very, very creative beings that were just being stomped out. When a flower grows up, when a flower grows, and some of these people are just so ornery, they want to come and stomp it out. You see what I'm saying? And that's the kind of energies that we're dealing with. And it's something that you can overcome, and don't let it overpower you ever. And if you get somebody that is supportive of that, then you really got lucky. But you can also get somebody. See, the whole thing about it is that when it comes to these, particular strongholds and generational curses, it's always have a baby, have some babies by a loser, be single for the rest of your life, die alone, and then the kids don't have nothing, and then bam, and then that's it. And that is the current status quo. You don't have to accept that, sis. You don't have to be comfortable with that. And you don't have to be made to feel bad just because your body produces offspring. That was the goddess's design. And you know what makes no sense? It makes no sense for poverty to, poverty mainly affects women. It does. It mainly affects women. So, and that don't make sense, do it? Was it set up by design? For some people, maybe. That doesn't mean that you can't overcome that. It can be just as difficult as how Black folks had to overcome slavery, though. I can tell you that because some of these folks got that slave mentality. And you know why you don't want no handout? Because you have so much more to offer, don't you? And what you have to offer is valuable. This is the reason why I have had the success that I have. And it's so sad when you see people purposely saying, oh, well, you're a mother and you're a grandmother and you don't deserve anything. What? I've never heard of anything like that in my life. And so this morning, yes, I did invoke my grandmother. My grandmother was an Aquarius when she was alive, and she still is. Somebody that provided me a lot of hope and inspiration in life. And it was in my spirit to come and discuss this with y'all. Okay? And it's not about life being short, but life is precious. So a lot of people don't see it that way, though. But that's their problem. That's their perception. See, everybody's perception is reality. Okay? You an Aquarius too, S Banks? That's cool. That's what, yeah, I loved my grandmother. Oh my goodness. She was such an inspiration. When my grandmother retired from the post office, she set up shop in her basement. My grandma was doing hair. She had professional hair dryer. She had everything. My grandmother was such an inspiration. Just seeing her do that, and then also seeing my own mother have her own business and creativity and stuff like that. Those were the things that inspired because it's kind of a non-reality to say, oh, well, you're going to grow up and you're going to meet some rich man, but that's not how it happens for everybody. So does that mean that your life has to be flushed down the toilet? Is that what that really means? Because I done seen people 50 and 60 years old go and get college degrees, and it ain't nothing wrong with that, even though I don't want one. I'm not interested in getting a college degree, but that's just me. Y'all might have different goals. So I'm not going to say, well, that's stupid for you to want to do that because college is a scam. No, that's not the truth, actually. Okay. Even though we know that there are college graduates that are making minimum wage, we know that. Okay. And that says something about the way everything is set up. And so then they said, well, it's population control. We need to control the population then. We don't have enough jobs for these people, so some of them got to die. And then that's when God has said, wait a minute, skirt, hold on. No, no, no. And don't kill them, because I can feel a lot of y'all thinking about killing them. I can feel it. I just want to go I'm just so mad. I just want to go kill them. Don't do that, because then they're going to be able to put you in jail. Then you're going to be a slave for real. Because it makes you so angry that you care so much and they care so little. Don't it irritate you when you care so much and they care so little? That is so irritating. They have no idea what the implications are. This is why I always proudly buy my grandchild her milk. But what's their story? The welfare man. What's his story? You're going to go and get a WIC check and da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, no. That little sideways thing that Cat Williams does when he hangs his head to the side? No, not going to do that. Well, why not? It's free. Everything has a cost. And don't let them stomp out your energy, man. Don't let them do that ever. A lot of y'all are just like, y'all just wildflowers. Y'all just trying to grow. And they just coming and stomping you out. You know what I'm saying? That's sad. Well, if they stomp on you and you survive it, then know how you can not only survive it, because look, you know what? I'm not sorry. Just surviving is not good enough for me. I don't want to just survive. What is that? Barely holding on? I've always wanted more, but I've always wanted children. And just because a woman has children doesn't mean that she has to be a failure. I don't know when they started saying that. I don't know where that assumption came from, that just because a woman had children, that meant that she was automatically a failure. That's backwards. That sounds like some eugenic stuff. I don't know. Maybe it was a sub-eugenic culture, that may have came out of feminism or whatever. And then it was like, oh, well, you just gonna ruin your life and da-da-da-da-da. Well, if you've got a supportive family that is, and many of y'all don't have that, and I understand that. I totally understand that, because people feel comfortable when you're where you're at. But you got to be prepared to make some folks feel uncomfortable, because it's going to automatically make them feel uncomfortable. They're going to automatically feel uncomfortable with your success. And that's okay. Hold on, y'all. Let me answer this. Hold on. Okay. So I just wanted to come and give women some encouragement. Okay. That, women that want more, especially those of you that have got your children, when you have children, let's face it, that's your bloodline is extending. See, that's why we have bloodline curses. If you don't have any children, then then it just kind of cuts off at you. There's no extension of that. You know, when you look at a family tree, you see the root of the tree, and then you see everybody else in the tree, and then you see you, and then you got your children, and then you got your children's children. Okay? And it's going to all work out. But you got to have faith and trust in yourself, in your ability to rise above that man that kicked you down. And that don't necessarily mean, that don't necessarily mean that you have to, kick him down. But sometimes if he kicking you, you got to kick him back. Especially if they shaming you for something that don't even exist. That they got a new policy. Let's make up some stuff to shame you for, even though it never existed. So if somebody kicking you, you got the right to kick them back. Okay, I'm a firm believer in that. But I don't think you should waste too much of your time doing that, though. But, when it boils down to it, it angers me and it triggers me for somebody to be okay and happy and content with failing to take care of their children, especially if it is a man and if he wants to be seen as a man. How dare you kick the woman down, the woman that you claim is weaker than you, the woman that you claim that can't live without you, and then you're going to go and kick her down because she can live without you. She can go and replace you. And then that's when they get real biblical on you, won't they? Well, verse so-and-so and so-and-so says so-and-so and so-and-so. And what they'll do is they'll actively try to carry out that self-fulfilling prophecy from that biblical region, which is, we're not even going to speak on that. Okay, I'm not even going to speak on that. I don't feel it. I don't feel like it today. It's just not a good day to do that. But, it's not God. It's not the goddess. It's them. That's not God doing that to you. You think God would want your children to suffer? No, that's not God. You think God would forsake his children or her children? No. That's man doing that. And yeah, we do have a lot of confused women that will be out there and they will assist these men in the tearing down of the woman. They will assist them. I don't like those kind of women. I don't hang around those kind of women. In fact, I shame the hell out of those women. Because how dare you come for this woman and attack her when she is trying to make a difference for her family and her children and just trying to live her life. So when I see a woman doing that, I check her. And ladies, you don't have to just have a career. You can have a career and a man. You can have your own business and a man and a life and a house and whatever you want. You can have whatever you want. Because they'll try to make you choose. Well, and then that's when you turn into a shell. Don't ever turn yourself into a shell of a woman. No. You just a workhorse that's going to work day and night. And you don't have nobody to rub your feet at night. But y'all, but you got to take baby steps though. Okay, because I might be going a little too far into Venus. See, you got to start it. You know what I'm saying? You got to take baby steps. And then that's when you'll say, you know what? If I can do this, then I can do that. And let me tell y'all something. 85% of men are psychologically programmed that way. So that's where the cleanses and stuff like that comes, because what this thing is something that was meant to destroy humanity altogether. And a lot of these men are, they just got real weak to it. And so it's, sometimes as a woman, you have to lead yourself. And then also when you have one of these men that, because the TV and songs and movies and stuff psychologically programs men to cheat and to do all kinds of stuff. And so that's why they do those things. Okay. So a lot of y'all will be ready to walk out, but sometimes sometimes you got to do work. Sometimes you got to do work on a man. Okay. You do. Because they all were sort of, especially the ones that were you know what, they don't even have to really do that. It's all a part of a very, very flawed design that is set up for some people so that other people can feel better about themselves, or either, it's so many different reasons that they have for it. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to come with that little tidbit of hump day inspiration. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Hit that thumbs up. Okay. If you guys have dealt with somebody like that and you feeling depressed and you feeling sad and you feeling and you're feeling overwhelmed. Okay. That's what those spiritual cleanses are for. And they do work. A lot of times y'all have been hexed. Okay. A lot of times it's either generational hex or either it could have started, with your generation that you were hexed. And you got to get that stuff off of you. What are some signs that you're hexed? Depression, anxiety, health problems, money problems, self-esteem issues, nervousness, dizziness, pain in different joints in your body, um, people very volatile around you. Instead of you walking into a store and people smile at you, they're kind of looking at you crazy. Now when I go around the corner to the store that's around the corner from me, they always greet me or whatever, in a very, very polite way, open the door for me. But I know on my birthday I went up to the mall and this lady was giving me the stink eye, and I knew something was up. So you got to pay attention to the signs, because spirit will show you what's going on. Trying to think of other signs that you may be under a hex. There's many, 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 many different signs. I can't even think of them, but those are some of the major ones. Getting fired from your job, um, confusion, people judging you. But people gonna always judge, so that don't necessarily mean that you hex. If you're having one or more of those symptoms, then more than likely you've got some kind of hex on you and you might need a cleanse or a hex remover. So anyway, I will see y'all later. I'm going to get a little bit of rest, but I will be back a little bit later to do those readings for you guys. Okay. Actually, I have readings to do today. I've got personal readings to do today, which is crazy. Anyway, y'all, love and light to y'all. Okay. Bye-bye.